Hi, my name is Bart Christian, and I'm here to welcome you to this very special edition of the Friday Food Fight. You know, a lot of you don't realize how the origins of kind of the Friday Food Fight started. We started a couple of years ago with a program called Class of Heroes, where we wanted to highlight, people around the country that are doing extraordinary things in child nutrition. But it was all telephone interviews. We'd call people up, they'd answer the phone, and then we would talk and record the conversation, and then put it onto a YouTube program. But it's obviously, as you know, it's evolved, and over the last year, we have really evolved into a real true podcast program, having guests from across the country, SNA presidents, past present and future, all kind of leaders from industry, and also some thought leaders that are not necessarily in our industry, but have great input and great things to offer us. But we're going to have a throwback today, and the throwback today is going to be to an interview that I did at the very end of 2019 with a young lady named Heather Cruikshank. Heather Cruikshank at that time was a brand new director in the Roosevelt School District, but I'd known Heather for a long time, but I didn't really understand the story that was behind her. And any of you have seen me speak, have heard me talk about the story that we share, the commonality that we share, and the things that go on in our lives that we have no idea that are going on. People don't know what's going on in our life. We don't know what's going on in their life. And Heather's one of those people who I really admired, but I didn't realize just how much until I actually had the opportunity to talk with her. Heather is kind of an inspiration to everyone who's not just people in child nutrition, but anybody who's chasing a dream. She got her start in the restaurant world, but she really quickly realized that was not going to be conducive to her raising her three small children. And in 2002, she kind of made the leap from the restaurant world into the child nutrition world as an elementary school manager trainee with Mesa School District. Now, Heather soon became a site manager at an elementary school, and after some time and some work and some dedication, she moved up into a high school manager position. During that time, Heather was continuously pursuing higher education. She was taking online classes at night, and she earned her degree in business administration and development. And during this time, Heather also became a single mom. And she found herself very quickly having to take on work at night to support her family, all the while still working in child nutrition, all the while still pursuing her degree. She never took her eyes off that prize. Not looking back at all, she kind of pressed forward towards her goal of becoming a child nutrition director. And in 2018, she got that opportunity. That dream came true, all that work came to fruition as she was named the Director of Food Services for the Roosevelt Elementary School District in South Phoenix, Arizona. Heather's a very faithful woman. She's faithful, she's humble, she's always very quick to acknowledge the hand that has guided her through it all. But she's also quick to recognize the fact that she wouldn't be there for her coworkers, her peers, and her mentors that made it possible for her to really see the goal come true of being able to feed her community. I've known Heather a long time. I had no idea of the story that she had behind her. But what I can tell you this is Heather Cruikshank is truly a child nutrition superhero. And I hope you take the time to listen to this really quick interview with her as she shares some of her inspiration and her dedication to not only child nutrition, but also to the people that she works with every single day. Hey, God bless. I'll see you on the other side.
Wow, I am so excited to be talking to you today, Heather. I am. It's a great honor to have your time, to give us an opportunity to share a little bit and glean a little bit from your experience and your wisdom. I just really appreciate it, and I got to say thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for asking me. I consider it an honor.
Well, ditto. And one of the things we've known each other for some time, and one of the things that I've never really asked you or the details of. I know we've talked a little bit about it, but how did you get your start in child nutrition, and what keeps you kind of hanging on in the industry?
Well, to be honest, I never had dreams or aspirations of being a lunch lady of any kind. But when my children were little, I was a restaurant manager. And the hours that you work when you serve in that industry are usually evenings and late nights. And I was missing out on a lot of my little kids' lives. So I had a friend suggest that I check out the school, and I did. And I applied for an elementary manager trainee position, and I got it. And that's what started it, and moved my way up slowly through the ranks. What keeps me in the industry is a few things. One is the people that I get to work with. I have never met greater people than the ones that work in school nutrition.
Mm.
I've never worked with people that work harder for the amount of money that they work for. And also because I believe that we make a difference. Sometimes we forget that we do. But when you get past all the details, we do make a difference in the lives of our students.
So you started really at the base level of child nutrition, and you've worked your way all the way up now to be a director. That's incredible.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So obviously, you just made a great comment. Is that, the folks in child nutrition sometimes are not the most appreciated. Sometimes they're not the most rewarded, but yet the job they do is so critically important. And if you could post a sign in every kitchen in the country, in just a few words, what would that sign say, and why would it say it?
Well, I guess when I think about that, I would have to say a thing that I follow for myself, and I try to remind like my children and people that work for me too, is if you do things in the spirit of love, that's what I try to remember. No matter what I do, if I do it with the right spirit, I believe that the results will be good. And I believe that is the heart of our people in school nutrition industry, is they have a big heart for what they do. A heart for each other, a heart for their children, and they got to love, serving the food to them.
So do it with love.
Yes, do all things in the spirit of love.
That's great. And, I read a book not too long ago that talked about cooking, and made the analogy that how we often go to Grandma's house and eat something that she makes, and it's so wonderful, and it's just one of the best things we've ever ate, and we get the recipe and get home and follow it step by step, and it's just not as good as Grandma's.
Isn't that true? You can tell when someone does something for you in that spirit. Absolutely.
Yeah, you can tell. I've always hoped you can kind of taste the love, can't you?
You can, absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. So, I know you just attained your degree, and congratulations on that. I'm so excited for you in that regard. And so in order to do that, I know you got to be a reader, right? And
I what now?
I said, I know you got to be a reader, right?
Oh yes, I like to read.
And so, what book or books have had the greatest influence on your life?
Well, one would be the Bible, for sure.
Amen. For sure. Yep.
Another one would be one of my favorite authors is Joel Osteen, who is a Christian pastor. Mm-hmm. I liked him because he's very positive, and he talks about all the possibilities that are in our life and not just limitations. And also Wayne Dyer, who is if you know anything about him, he kind of went outside of the box and talked more about the law of attraction and creating things in your life by the way that you look at them and talk about them and feel about them.
Yeah, Wayne Dyer talks a lot about being intentional too, and I think a lot of times that's something that we take for granted. Don't you think that we need to be intentional in what we do every single day? There needs to be a reason.
Absolutely.
For the things we do.
Absolutely, and I think when you have a clear picture of what it is that you want, for myself anyways, if I have a focus, a clear picture of the desired result, where I want to get to, then through the way, it makes everything a little bit easier, even the biggest struggles, like going to college and working full-time and having a second part-time job like I did for 6 years. Mm-hmm. I was able to get through all that because I kept telling myself, this is not going to be like this forever. It will change, and I will get to that goal. And now I just have one job that I can focus on, and life's so different, and things change.
Well, that leads us directly into my next question, and that is, we've all, through our lives, you get enough years behind you, you're going to have failures in your life, especially if you take risks and try things, which clearly you've done over the course of years. Mm-hmm. Is there a failure, or maybe something that appeared to be a failure that actually sets you up for a later success that you can point to?
I would have to say, there's an endless list of those.
I know.
And I think it might be because of the way that I look at life. I heard an interview from the woman, I can't remember her name, but she's the billionaire, the one that started the Spanx Corporation. And she said that every night at dinner, her dad and he was a lawyer. He would ask her and her brother, "What did you fail at today?" And she said, that may sound negative, and a lot of people probably wouldn't understand that. But my dad's philosophy was, if you're not failing, you're not trying. And so I kind of adopted that into my own life. And I have to say now, looking back on things that even I thought were a failure, they were just helping me to clarify things that I really wanted in my life. And they helped make me stronger and helped fine-tune my vision for my life.
Is there something that you can point to, specifically one thing that really made a difference in your life that at the time appeared to be bad, but really turned out to be good?
I would have to say when I was married and I had little kids, I tried to go get my degree then, and I got so stressed out and overwhelmed, I couldn't see how I could be full-time mom, full-time wife, full-time student, and an employee, and I had to drop out of college. And that was kind of heart-wrenching for me because it was something that I always wanted to do. But no time, there's always time. And you're never too old to have your dream. You're never too old to pursue your goals. And so then I decided years ago to go back, and that was 25 years later.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that have done that, gone back to school in later years, and they told me that they feel like that they were more receptive and more open to the information and actually learned more because they had the life experience behind them to help them understand how important certain information was.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
What is one of the best investments you've ever made? Not necessarily investments in money, but it could be time or energy or in yourself. What can you point to something that you've done that you really think, now that's the one thing that's one of the best things I've ever done?
I would have to say the day, and I'm not sure when it happened, what age I was, the day that I found out that investing in another person's spirit is the most important thing. It pays off to me every time. That's one thing I love about being in a supervisory position, and especially in the position I'm in now, the impact that I can have on the people around me. It's such a broader perspective. And to have an employee or someone come in and, we all have lives outside of work, and sometimes life doesn't always go the way that we had planned, and there's people who are hurting in all different ways. Yeah. And I've always felt that investing in a person is really the truest, greatest thing that I could ever do, and it's always paid off for me every single time.
And I've always heard that, when you invest in another person and give them just basically love and appreciation and let them know that they are, in fact, important, that sometimes the person who gets the most out of that is not the person you're giving it to, but was the giver, which is you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things that you can't help, but there's a saying, and I'm not good at remembering all the time who says them, but it's actually on my LinkedIn profile, and it says, there is a rule in life that you can't help but help yourself when you help someone else.
Amen. That's true. Well, you reap what you sow. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, is there, we all got quirky little things we like to do, and is there some unusual habit or a kind of silly thing that you just love to do?
Well, I love to play. I like to scare people. So
I'll remember that next time I see you.
At home, I love to be the one hiding behind the door when someone comes in, and I have to be careful. I've gotten in trouble for that before from my mom and dad when I was younger, and I don't do it to them anymore. They're too old. Something bad could happen. But yeah, I still get a thrill out of scaring my children or scaring my friends. And another thing that I just love, I have grandbabies, and I love coloring with them, and I love playing with the bubbles, blowing bubbles.
Yeah, grandchildren are great. You get to play again. I've just got my first one, so I'm excited about it. Yeah. In the last 5 years, is there something that you've done or some new belief, behavior, habit that you've incorporated into your life that's really made a great improvement?
Yes. A few years ago, I went through a situation with a family member with an illness, and I reached a point in my life that I had never been before. I just could not seem to get my joy back.
Mm.
And it was a heavy situation in our life, and I decided that I needed to do something. So I started every day getting up and turning on YouTube and looking up inspirational, motivational videos. And it took a little while, but after doing it every day without fail, suddenly I started having better day after good day, great day, even better days. And I still do that to this day. It's a habit that I started then. And it helps encourage me every day. We get lost up sometimes in what we can see right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what's going on right now is going to be past very shortly. So it's a trick to kind of be able to accept what's going on right now and deal with it, but know where is your end result? Where are you going? That's more important. It's like driving your car. It's more important to look ahead than it is behind, of course, unless you're backing up, but you should never do it.
I heard Zig Ziglar say one time that the rearview mirror is the smallest thing in the car for a reason.
Absolutely. You can't do anything about what's happened. If you go back at all, you look and see what you've learned and how it can make you a better person.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice, a lot of people are thinking about coming into child nutrition or into the nutrition industry, and obviously there's lots of people that graduate with a degree in nutrition or dietetics every single year. What advice would you give a smart-driven college student that's possibly considering pursuing a career in the child nutrition industry?
I would tell them that I think the most important thing is to ask yourself the why of why you want to do something. A lot of times, when you're being brought up, you think, oh, I want to make this kind of money because I want to do this with my life. And I don't know very many people that have done things with the pursuit of money that end up truly saying that they felt satisfied and happy in their life. I think it's the people that have a passion for what they do, and they strive to make a difference, not just a paycheck, that make a difference. And that would be my advice to them, is make sure that, getting into child nutrition is what you really want to do, that you want to invest in the lives of children. And because there are going to be times where it's tough. I mean, there are days where you have days that people could not even imagine. I say every day is a miracle at Child Nutrition Services. The way that we feed these kids with every obstacle coming our way, electricity going out, food not arriving, people not showing up to work. So those things are going to happen, and if you have a passion and a love for what you do, that will get you through.
Exactly. I told a group not too long ago that I've never seen so few do for so many with so little. And that seems to be school nutrition in a nutshell. It really is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So in the last 5 years, what have you become better at saying no to? And is there anything advice you give people about how to say no to things?
Well, I would have to say that I've gotten better at knowing myself and knowing what is important to me. I got out of the people-pleasing business quite a while ago, and I know what's important to me. So if it's something that I can do and it will help another person, then I will go out of my way to try to do that. But I try not to clutter my life with a lot of busyness because I want to be able to have time. One of the most important things to me is spending time with my family. Spending time with myself and getting in touch with me, and resting, It's work hard, rest hard, play hard, all those things are important. So, you can't please everybody, and you can't do everything yourself. I know a lot of people in this industry that tend to think that they have to do everything, but there are a lot of people that want to help, and there's a lot of people that had a lot of gifts that I don't have. And so I try to share that with them and delegate and train and develop people so that we have a strong team, not just a strong leader, but you're only as strong as your team is, I think.
Absolutely. Especially in this business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so in the vein of advice, what popular advice do you sometimes hear in the industry, or you hear other people say or offer to people that, in all honesty, people should either ignore or take as a bad recommendation, things that maybe they shouldn't do?
Well, my dad has always told me, what you focus on gets bigger. So hang with the winners, no matter where you are. And to me, the winners are the people that don't just see the negative. They don't just see the limitations. They're people that talk about the positive. They're solution oriented. They're able to find a way to get something done. And to me, that's my biggest thing is I try to stay away from people that are negative. Because in any industry you get into, there's going to be people that are both ways. And so the leaders and mentors in my life that I have, they are ones that are positive. They're encouraging. You know, they understand how things are, and they're not going to lie to you. Some days are harder than others. But they always leave you with the thought, you can do this. We got this. And so I would just say my biggest advice is hang with the winners, stick with the positive people, and if you're ever going to argue for something, argue for possibility, not limitation.
Amen. I would love to have met your dad. Your dad sounds like a really great guy.
Scotland. I don't know if that's how they raise them over there or what, but
well, he sounds like he'd have been a very interesting guy to sit down and have a cup of coffee with and talk to.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question. Okay, so this is a busy business. It's a busy job. It's easy to get overwhelmed with things. And so when you are feeling overwhelmed or unfocused, as we all tend to get from time to time, or maybe just lost your focus for a period of time, is there anything that you do? I mean, is there anything you do? Any questions you ask yourself? You know, what's kind of how do you deal with that?
Well, you know, there are days like that where I get overwhelmed. A lot of times, you know, it seems like everything comes due at one time.
I know that.
You're not even done with the school year, and you're already halfway into next year with planning and budgeting and summer school, and you know, it's just a never-ending process. There's always 100 things to do. I remember one day I had seen this cartoon, and it said, I was brought into this world to get a certain number of things done, and I am so far behind, I will never die. And I giggle because it reminds me of working in school nutrition, because you're never done. The job is never done. You can never get caught up. And probably out of all areas of the district, we are the one department that we can't put our job off until tomorrow. Our kids are coming through for breakfast, lunch, snack, supper today. So regardless, we have to get it done. So I just remind myself that, you know, I can only do what I can do, and I try to focus on what I can get done today. If it's something that I can't change, then I'm not going to focus my attention to it. I'm going to look at things that I can change.
That's good. The fact that you can, what is that, the Serenity Prayer, you know, let me know the things I can change, have the wisdom of those things I can't, and have the courage to do the things I can. I think something like that. I can't remember. I'm probably paraphrasing, but yeah.
If you're going to get frustrated and overwhelmed about something, don't ever let it be about something that can be changed. And 99.9% of things in life can be changed.
Well, Heather, great advice, great words, and I appreciate so much the opportunity to spend this time with you. I'm just, like I said, I'm in awe of some of the answers to the questions, because you and I share that same belief that there's a lot of good out there. Sometimes you just got to kind of look for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So any parting words for our audience before we go?
Well, actually, when you said that, the thought that came to me was when you would ask me about the books and people that Wayne Dyer has a saying, and I say this all the time, When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Amen. We're going to leave it with that. Hey, God bless you, Heather. I really appreciate your time. I wish you the very best. And again, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Bart. You're awesome.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that kind of throwback episode that we had. I mean, I really enjoyed listening to it again. I got inspired and all pumped up all again for this industry that we all love, that I've spent the majority of my life in. I know many of you have too. And listen, I just want to ask you to do this as you're going through the week, this week and over the weekend and the next days as we lead up towards summer. Take time to understand that there's a story going on in everybody's life. There's something that you don't know. There's something inspiring that you don't recognize. There's something maybe that's a little bit of trial that you don't recognize. Be patient with others. Be empathetic with others. Show others grace and kindness. And I promise you that it'll come back to you in spades. Hey, God bless you. I hope you have a great week, and we look forward to seeing you next week on the Friday Food Fight. Bye.